Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit, live here from E3 2012 in Los Angeles. I am here with Kristafer Vale of Yogventures. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, this was the Kickstarted project, of course, from Yogscast to create this... Create this what exactly?
So what we're building here is a make-your-own-adventure kind of game. What we're going to do is work with the community to allow them to kind of create the environment and the adventures that they want to share with each other. You know, so it's kind of based in a 3D sandbox kind of world. You know what I mean? But every aspect of the game is going to be customizable as much as possible. You know what I mean?
Okay. So why don't we kick in and just have a little look at what you've got to show for us? Obviously, should preface this by saying this is a very early alpha build. So we're just looking at some of the content they've got done so far.
Yeah, so what we're showing today is a kind of canned demo of what you could expect from an adventure map. We're not actually showing off any of the level editing features or anything like that yet. So right mouse button will allow you to orbit your camera around.
A familiar face for many people, I feel.
Yeah. The Yogscast characters are obviously a huge influence on us, and we are going to try to influence as much of the game as we can with Yogscast kind of iconic visuals and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing to say, I suppose, is that there was a little bit of controversy leading up to this, and we know how the Minecraft community can get.
Yes.
Minecraft wasn't actually an original idea, as many people are well aware. You know, it was very derivative of Infiniminer. It obviously took a lot of elements for Dwarf Fortress and various other games like that. But, of course, now any game that comes along that has crafting, building, digging is immediately Minecraft rip-off. So explain why exactly your game doesn't qualify as that.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing about the game that we're trying to create here is the build, play, share aspects of what we're doing here, you know? I mean, yes, there is an infinite procedurally generated world, and yes, that will influence the gameplay style, but everything that we're making here is all about sharing adventures, making adventures, having that D&D kind of experience, or that little Big Planet kind of experience where you've created a story that you want to share with your fellow friends, you know, or the community at large.
And the idea behind that is to use these kind of simple level editing tools. Obviously, we can't see that in this demo at the moment. But I think the one thing that Minecraft did exceptionally well, better than anything before, is the process of drowning in lava and the process of making levels actually an enjoyable and cooperative experience.
Right. I mean, and in that sense, you can't really take it away from them. They have really come up with a nice paradigm there, you know, and there's no reason why we won't have elements that are like that, you know what I mean? You will be able to cooperatively build maps together and share them to the community and things like that. But I mean, we're not going to be limiting anything to the same blocky style. We're not using that kind of technology or anything like that, you know, and it will be aesthetically driven, you know what I mean? We have an actual goal with the 3D models and we're going to let the users kind of customize their experience and a little more than what Minecraft has been able to do. You know?
So I would assume that everything we just saw, the rocks falling down, all of this stuff, this is something you could script into your adventure and then have other players go through it and experience that.
Yes, that's right. It's going to be kind of like Game Maker, RPG Maker, or something like that, where the users are able to set these trigger points in story mode, important elements, and have that happen, you know, based on criteria that they have come up with, you know.
So how do you make that fun? I mean, it's very obvious to people that have played Minecraft why building is fun.
Yeah.
It's got this really nice mix of resource gathering, using those resources then to construct, bearing in mind you're also constructing in sometimes a hostile world.
Right.
And then seeing the kind of fruits of your labor come to life. But when I hear words like scripting points and trigger points, that is not what I think. So how do you make that fun for the player?
Well, we do really look at this as two different kind of player sets. You know, there'll be people who really enjoy going on adventures and having adventures and sharing adventures, but then there's people who really love making adventures, you know, and making the adventures will not be exactly the same experience as playing the game will be. It'll be in the same world. It'll have a layer over top of the same world with tools and that kind of thing. It could be construed as work for some people, you know what I mean? But the people who really enjoy getting down nitty-gritty, creating these levels, scripting the events and things like that, they're going to be very satisfied with the tools that they're going to have to use.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about the background of your team? Because among the controversy that we did see in forums like Reddit was these guys don't have any experience. They don't know what they're doing.
Right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you've got on staff?
Right. So Winterkewl Games is our first game, but every element or every person who's a member of Winterkewl Games, we've all got industry experience. Either in directly making AAA title video games or making animations in the fields that are relative to their position. So our modeler works at DreamWorks Animation. Our animator works at DreamWorks Animation. I come from DreamWorks Animation, you know. Scott, our lead developer, has worked at NCSoft and things like that. You know, I mean, our team is young as far as being a team together, but we're mustered when it comes to the skills that we need to do the game. You know,
certainly. How much input does Yogscast actually have in this? Was this just an idea that is then said we're going to get the funding for it, we're going to back it, or have they been involved directly in the creative process?
Oh, they are definitely involved. We're coming up with the elements of what kind of Yogscast and gameplay meet, like where does that happen? And so on a daily basis, we're kind of looking at the kinds of elements that we want to add, and they're very involved with the process.
I don't know if that worries me somewhat, considering Simon has some interesting ideas about how things should go.
Well, you know, it's all tempered with what's best for the game, and what the community is going to really dictate a lot of what we end up putting in here. After Kickstarter, we started the forums as soon as possible, so that we're really dedicated to this idea that we're going to get feedback from the community, find out what they like, what they don't like, and we're going to roll it in, you know, and make the kind of game that they want to see made.
Now, a lot of people are curious about Kickstarter and the amount of money asked for, and they don't really seem to understand how development actually works, how much it costs, more to the point. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where this money is going and what the extra money is going to allow you to do, since you did more than exceed your goal?
Right. So, I mean, when you go to start a Kickstarter, we had no idea. Only a few people had done it that we knew of, you know. So we were kind of unsure of what we could expect out of it. And so when we set our goal, we set it at a level that we thought, well, that would be amazing. If we had that amount of support, that would be enough to get us started, at least with the hardware and the licensing of the software and stuff like that, you know. The fact that they went over and above that and came through in such a big way has just made it that much more possible for us to go out and get people like Scott, new programmers, new hardware, new software. I mean, every element of video game creation has a cost associated with it, unfortunately, you know. Even when it's a labor of love, you're still having to take time from work or something like that. You know?
You still need food at the end of the day, you need to pay rent and so on. And I'm going to embarrassingly have to ask, where the hell do I go next at this stage?
Actually, since you have all 5 keys, you can open the gate.
That's where the lock was. I am such an idiot.
So this would be an example where a map maker should have left a clue for the thing.
Perhaps, yeah.
And what would be cool is, like, we're going to make it so that the map maker can get feedback from the community and re-upload their map, you know, after making adjustments.
Actually make those kind of improvements.
Yeah. So cutscenes are going to be able to be programmed by the map makers and stuff like that. We want to add some machinima tools, because obviously the Yogscast are going to feature the maps that they like the most, you know, so making it easy to make good-looking videos out of the game is one of the things that we're striving to do.
Yeah, I've got to say, it is one of the more unusual projects that I've heard, and that's popped me right back at the start there.
Yeah, sorry, it's hard as nails. There's only one.
It's demo is a demo. It's not a problem. But it's a really curious thing. I don't think I've ever seen that done, where certainly a YouTube star has created the tools necessary to then create their own content in something they've made. Yeah, that's really weird to me.
It's a crazy new time that we live in, you know, where users and podcasters and gamers and game developers and all that, the lines are getting blurred all the time, you know, the communities are getting closer, and, you know, big business doesn't have to be in the way of all of it anymore.
No, I guess it doesn't, which is good for everyone as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
This game is seriously unforgiving. I don't believe that Simon has beaten this demo. Having seen him play games, I flat out refuse to believe that.
Well, one of the things that I keep joking with him is I'm going to run a contest to make the hardest jumping puzzle.
Oh, dear God, why? Just don't give him TNT. You know what he'll do with it. He'll just break everything. He's a destructive little child. That's what he has a tendency to do. Why don't you tell me a bit about the creative functionality that players will have? I think the thing that most interests me is, how do you do things like mining and terraforming and, oh my God, I've done it again. without having the blocky style that people are used to?
Well, I mean, mining and terraforming is going to be handled by this technology called voxel form. And one of the great things about using Unity as our game engine is the fact that there's a plethora of asset stored middlewares that are available for developers to use. And like you said, we're a really small indie startup, you know, so our budgets are very lean. So we're using all of those technologies that are available to people. Voxel form is one of those, and what's great about it is it's a procedurally generated marching cube voxel world, which means it'll go on forever, and it'll be up to the map maker to kind of set the limits for how the users interact with it in any given map, you know.
Excellent. All right, we're going to have to wrap this up, but Kristafer, thank you very much for showing us the current form of Yogventures. I should once again stress this is very much in alpha, nowhere near finished. This is simply a demo put on display for E3, but looking like an interesting project to follow. No doubt we will keep an eye on it. No doubt I will continue to fall into this lava pit. That's just the way that it's going to be. But thank you very much.
Thank you very
this
much.
has been coverage of Yogventures here from E3. My name has been Totalbiscuit, and I will see you next time.